Hi, my name is Daniel. I live in Hungary, and I am infected. I don't really believe there is a cure, not in this phase. Since I know exactly what led to my actual state, I have the opportunity to warn you. Don't ever get in contact with things I want to show you in this video, or else you might end up like me. I'm serious. Where to start this story? My great-grandfather had fought in World War I. He served his time in the army of the Austro-Hungarian monarchy as a hussar. He had been a small cogwheel in the Great War machine, but brought home a couple of medals. Then the Great War ended. My great-grandfather came home. His medals and his dog tag were put in a tin box and remained there untouched for almost a century. I remember, when me and my brother were small kids, we played with those medals a couple of times. Then they got back to the tin box and their existence faded into oblivion. I found and opened that box again in 2005, as a young adult. The medals I found there were without ribbons, the dog tag empty. I was just looking at them and I did not know anything about those items, what they were called, how my ancestor had gotten them, what he did for getting them, what ribbons the medals were awarded on, nothing. But I wanted to know. At that period of my life I had time to make a research, visiting home pages and forums connected to Militaria, so I plunged in the vast ocean of information. As I dug deeper, I found more and more information on the medals, saw more and more pictures of other beautiful awards, uniforms soldiers wore in the war, documents that were issued 100 years ago. I became even more curious. I wanted to have my own collection. At first I tried to collect medals and awards from the monarchy era, then picked up some Third Reich stuff. Then I turned to World War II Hungarian items. Since I was a young guy with a small budget and without any personal contacts, that's the definition of a newbie collector, I presume, I had very small success. In the first couple of years I acquired some cheaper items from every areas of my interest, but nothing extraordinary. And it was not enough to me. Making changes were inevitable. I decided to focus on a smaller area of interest. So I chose two subjects to collect. Things in connection with justice and judicature was the first. Unique and beautiful items the second. During the next 4 to 5 years I have been collecting everything I caught eyes of in connection with the Hungarian justice system. Books, uniforms, obituaries, diplomas, badges and plaques, and I can tell you, there remained only a few items that I knew of but did not have. But with that, the extension of my collection slowed down, and so I felt the first symptoms of the infection. I had less and less endorphin injections through having new items in my possession. So, I extended my area of interest. From this time on, I was also collecting items from around the world and from any era. I bought a Romanian military judge uniform from last days of socialism, a visor hat of a judge advocate of the Royal Canadian Army from the 70s, a necklace Lithuanian judges wear in courts right now, a badge of the Argentinian Air Force that judicial personnel have on their uniforms, and loads of interesting items from around the world. I also collected information. When I got a new item, it generated questions. To answer them, I had to make a research. When I had the answer to that question, 2 other question marks showed up. The more I had known of a small area I got in connection with, the more I wanted to know about it. I spent nights translating phrases to foreign languages, making searches, watching images, reading articles on different subjects. I became dependent. Irrevocably. Around this time, in about 2010, I met my mentor, a great collector, living only 2 blocks away from my place, in the same village. Despite I never heard of him before. He is great as a person, and great as a collector. Has such unbelievable a knowledge on uniforms like not many more collectors have, and has a collection of such beautiful and rare items not even museums do. Through the last 10 years I have learned a lot on uniforms and medals from him, and made a lot of personal connections to other collectors with his help. He also helped me acquire some precious pieces to my collection. There was no stop from this point. Now, 15 years after I opened the tin box, I own uniforms, awards, badges, books, documents I never dreamed I will ever have. And new items show up every month. And I have to have some of them? 'Cause I am infected now. I became infected by Militaria collecting. That's my story.